But so let me get this straight. Indoor. They're all in camo. This hand-picked, specially chosen strike force. Yet they bring a 6-foot golden and shiny as hell droid with them. Were they just... Well, I mean, why not just put like some... It wouldn't have been cool to paint him camo? Wouldn't that have been dope? You know, put a robe on him? Something?
It does lead into another discussion as well, but nobody ever said they were the best and most efficient strike team ever. We've seen what this team has done before.
True.
By the time they let us go. You know, the Empire wanted to know the Yavin Moon, and then Empire, they get split up pretty quick. But here, welcome to season 3 of Talking Pondo. Talking Pondo is a podcast where Clif and Marty give each other a film to watch and talk about them in detail. Some episodes will include a special guest. Luke Skywalker and the Space Chimps move to Scotland and will not be seen this week, so we may bring you the following hero's journey.
Oh,
I'd watch it.
Are we ever? I would too. And it turns out that the Space Chimp is just a 12-year-old kid with a mask, right?
Mm-hmm. It's the Space Chimps we made along the way.
Well, folks, there you go. There's your opening. Welcome back. It's Talking Pondo.
Yeah. I feel like I did see that movie where Luke Skywalker moved to Scotland. Was that one of the sequels?
I feel like that's the one where he's doing blue milk. Yeah.
Well, that was episode... I was going to say 9, but that's not right. But this is episode 99 of Talking Pondo.
Correct.
Well, if you did like 16 episodes of making Pondo, quiet you. I mean, those count as well, but you know,
they count. It count. It all counts.
It's a podcast. It's a weekly episode. You know,
it's an episode. It counts.
We just haven't hit 200 movies yet.
Yeah, and just because this podcast sometimes takes a different form, like Talking Figgy Pondo or Talking Mathau, does not mean that it's not a valid episode. Talking Kilmer.
Exactly.
It's just
doing the math when we hit episode 117, I think it is. Or is it one? Mm-hmm. Or would it be 116? That'll be like where we do our 200th movie that we've covered. Right? Because there were 16 interview episodes, the making.
Yeah.
Which means you have to do 116 altogether, right?
You have to do it. Yeah, if you do 100, that would make 116. Yeah.
Wow, our 200th movie coming up.
It's our struggle.
Yeah, and I doubt we'll even do anything fanfare for that. It'll just be like, 200th movie. Man. But for the 99th movie, managed to squeeze in some special things. But boy, I've been hit over the head with 1983 for the last few weeks. We watched The Right Stuff, which was 3+ hours in the world of 1983, and then this week was all 1983.
Set in the world of 1950.
You get Return of the Jedi and Losing It. No, not Losing It. You get
10,000 AD.
Local Action Hero with no, not the Arnold movie. It was
no.
I made a joke so many times I forgot the name of the movie. It's called Local Hero.
It's You're getting it confused with that Tough Guys movie with Kirk Douglas.
I did have that on the brain when I was watching this because it's 80s Burt Lancaster, and there's only so many of those to go around. Your film next week is Atlantic City and Rocky Horror Picture Show, as we're tying it all together for episode 100. No, episode 100, as we previously discussed, is our Christmas spectacular. It's our 100th episode, and we have our special guest Jessica for that one, and we're bringing some Christmas classics. That's next week. But for this week,
super excited
about that 99. If you want to get your Long Island accent on, even though nobody in these movies had the Long Island accent.
What's the movies?
The movies were Return of the Jedi and Local Hero, both released in 1983. As I said last time, probably the most interesting year of the 80s. And yes, I say the word interesting quite a bit. I use it all the time for an adjective, but in this case, I really think it fits that year. You hadn't quite got to the Reagan, Back to the Future, Ghostbusters era of the 80s that we all remember, of the Goonies and that shit. And we were just barely out of the 70s. And it's kind of the last gasp of some of the 70s filmmaking and both of the films today, especially in Local Hero, I thought. But also, you still get hippie filmmaking up until like 1985 with things like Real Genius. But at that point, it's more Manhattan Project. We're against the nukes. And then it becomes RoboCop, and we're into a whole nother planet. That was my diversion there.
It's that era of like Blondie and that type of thing, right? Like it's not 80 by 84. Blondie had kind of taken a backseat to like Van Halen and some of these other bands, but in 80, 81, she was freaking huge, massive.
Yeah, we were in Thriller then, right?
It's that time. Yeah, it's that time of 80s. When Michael Jackson's Thriller hits, it's off the wall Michael Jackson. It's not Thriller Michael Jackson, right? That's where we are with these movies. That's that in 83. This is like Local Hero is, like you said, kind of reflecting back, and Return of the Jedi is looking forward, like pushing. I was having a conversation with somebody the other day where they were talking about the fact that Lucas isn't a very good director, and I was like, who cares? He's an amazing storyteller, and he's pushed the field of filmmaking farther than damn near anybody out there as far as everything. I mean, Skywalker Ranch, Lucasfilm, ILM. Good God, man, are you kidding me? Are you fucking kidding me? Plus all the technical awards that he's got for all the Star Wars films. It's amazing.
I think he probably directed out of necessity for the first Star Wars film and for the prequels, of a way to oversee more departments in a way, because he seems like so much more of a technical director, but he didn't even direct today's film. Today's film was Richard Marquand. Is that the guy's name who directed Return of the Jedi?
Yeah, Richard Marquand. Yeah. Do you want to go Jedi first, since we've kind of dove into that? Or you want to do...
I suppose so. I guess that makes the most sense. Yeah.
Okay.
I wonder which one actually came out in the theaters first. Well, how close were the release dates?
Well,
just out of
I mean, Jedi's definitely a summer release.
Right. That's like a Memorial Day.
May 25th, 1983.
Yeah, it's a Gene Mott birthday release.
Later. Yeah. I'm betting that's later in the fall or something like that. No, April 29th. So
Local Hero came out first.
Yeah.
A Local Hero would have been playing at the art house.
Yeah, because it was released in the United Kingdom. It's a UK movie.
That makes sense too.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, let's do Jedi first. I watched Jedi first this week anyway, so
okay.
It's no surprise to you, as you know. I was watching Local Hero right up until we started recording. I don't like to do it, but it happens sometimes. It's the thing of doing a podcast. I like to let the movie sit for a couple of days, but sometimes you do what you got to do. Still try to be objective about everything. But Return of the Jedi, we're starting with the bad guys for a change in a Star Wars movie. That's different. The opening shot, and you can say, well, you saw the probot at the beginning. Yeah, well, I'm talking characters. The movie starts with, Darth Vader showing up and seeing, it's kind of like a Hopper is coming here. Yes, and he is most displeased with your apparent lack of progress. So the movies do have a little bit in common, but that Burt Lancaster is not exactly Darth Vader. But anyways, what is Return of the Jedi?
Okay, Star Wars Episode 6, Return of the Jedi, 1983, rated PG, 2 hours and 11 minutes.
It's always been Episode 6, right?
I believe so. I don't remember. I think didn't he start retconning that in between Empire and Jedi?
Mm-hmm.
I think so. So anyway, After rescuing Han Solo from Jabba the Hutt, the Rebel Alliance attempts to destroy the second Death Star, while Luke struggles to help Darth Vader back from the dark side. Written by Lawrence Kasdan and Lucas, stars the usual cast of rogue characters. Let's see, where's your storyline here? Luke Skywalker battles horrible Jabba the Hutt and cruel Darth Vader to save his comrades and the Rebel Alliance and triumph over the Galactic Empire. Han Solo and Princess Leia reaffirm their love and team with Chewbacca, Lando Calrissian, the Ewoks, and the androids C-3PO and R2-D2 to aid in the disruption of the dark side and the defeat of the evil Emperor.
Yeah, a little on the AI-ish side, but not terrible sounding, that description.
It's pretty... it's pretty close if it's, close enough, I guess.
Not very good at telling stories. This one's a little less dark than Empire, like we were talking about last time, but it's still very 1980s slimy gloppy is coming in to fashion here. There's still some like moments for a small kid, I would guess.
My first note here is not the revenge, but the return.
Yeah, but it was going to be
because, of course,
that. Yeah.
When we were kids, we all saw the stuff announcing it revenge, and then he changed it.
Mm-hmm. And why did he change it?
Because he thought a Jedi would never take revenge.
Exactly. And then when he gets to the episode 3, he found a place for the word revenge. And there's only a handful of movies that actually use the word revenge in their title. We know this because we made one of them. And every time we type it in, we see those other titles like Revenge of the Nerds, Revenge of the Sith. I think there's a movie called Revenge with Kevin Costner.
Yes.
The last movie Joe Bob ever showed on the movie channel. And there's probably a couple others, but not very many. There's not very many. It's an interesting company to be in, to be one of their strange films.
Yeah.
And Revenge of the Jedi wouldn't have made much sense anyways, because nobody's really taking revenge in this.
Nobody's really taking revenge in this. Yeah, he's not coming back to take revenge. He's trying to save his dad, yeah. For a galactic space opera, the story sure seems to center around Tatooine. It's a galaxy with thousands of planets and life forms, but yet everything seems to happen in this backwater desert ass planet.
Knowing all that we know from episode 1 on, that it's like, well, yeah, of course, because Anakin has his roots there, and of course Jabba the Hutt with like Han owes him money, so it's like you can't help but escape this fucking place. It's almost like they want to get away from it, but they can't.
Yeah. Episode 1, 2, and 3 deals with Tatooine. 7, she's on Tatooine. It's insane.
Mm-hmm. It's like between that and like the only really, I hate to say the word lame part is it's the Death Star again, but they managed to outdo it though. And even that iconic, even the half-built Death Star is iconic, and so it's like,
true.
And not to mention that dogfight at the end where they really ramp it up, and it's just like, yeah, that's pretty much the shit, guys. And then flying in the Falcon into the Death Star and hitting the reactor and Lando fucking flying out. It's like, you love it. It's awesome. But it is kind of like they're doing the Death Star again.
Yeah, you definitely took my note, which was my biggest issue is the retread of another Death Star. It smacks of a lack of creativity. Why not a ship, or have the Empire work more with the criminal element? Something that's different. But instead it's like, no, we're going to rebuild the Death Star. Okay, I guess. Okay, I guess because you just changed the design because it had that one flaw, and then suddenly it's the ultimate killing machine.
And yet somehow they make it really work. And then,
no, they do. I completely agree.
In many ways, it's more exciting than the first movie doing it.
It ends up being a bit of a trap for set by the Empire, and it's a trap set by the Empire for them. So it's almost like a lure to catch the rebels again. Like, well, if we build another one, they'll come in and try to fucking and then we can cut the head off of the snake off.
There's a line like, something to the extent of, I don't care about that buildup of forces over there. That's insignificant. What we're doing here is we're focusing on this moon. But, obviously Palpatine and Darth Vader were completely blind to the fact that Yoda was still hidden. And God knows how many other countless Jedis that hid themselves as well that Yoda didn't even know existed. But most importantly, they didn't know about Leia. I mean, Darth Vader doesn't even know until he pisses off Luke enough there at the end to where you can finally be like, oh, the twin sister and all that,
Yeah.
So it's like they think they got it all sewn up, but they don't really understand that these fucking Ewoks are, like, you judge Ewok by its size? I mean, Yoda told you in the last movie that the Force isn't all that nature and shit, and you're not paying attention to it like the dark side. So, of course, they would overtake it. And I know Ewoks are considered goofy, but they're only in like less than a half hour of the movie. And we know that they were trying to eat Han Solo. And look, let's face it, stormtroopers can't shoot for shit. It's not surprising they could be taken over by a bunch of insane teddy bears throwing rocks at them. It almost kind of makes sense. But as I said last time, it's always one step away from being the holiday special. They just did the editing a little bit better.
Where to start with all of that? That was like a whole rant. I'm going through my notes here. I'll just start from the beginning.
Yeah. You don't have to directly reply to it. We can jump in and out of things.
I like where you're going. So start with Jabba's palace, right? Like, I love how Jabba is a big fat drug slug crime lord, and that's the head of the mafia. That kind of tracks. I always thought Bib Fortuna was really fucking cool, right? But one of the things I find weird is, when they take R2 and C-3PO back to talk to the head droid that runs the droids for Jabba's palace, and they're torturing that droid by branding his feet. The idea that a droid can feel that is really fucking weird to me. It's just the idea of torturing a robot in general is kind of fucking strange.
It makes me
think, where I'm like,
makes me think about that Solo movie with the droid uprising and stuff. Those movies aren't well executed, the other Star Wars movies, the Disney ones, but the concepts that lie within them are somewhat interesting, and they do sort of attach to the original in a way.
It's the right move to start the movie with Han's rescue. You don't want to wait on that. You want to get that done right away and make it a whole big, spectacle like he does.
And it's such a tight opening too. I mean, that's just, there's no fat on that Jabba sequence. It is just,
no.
I mean, we saw it so many times that we got jaded and thought it was dull or whatever. Oh, here's the Jabba scene again. Or no, that's like, that is chef's kiss.
I especially love when I especially loves when she brings Chewie in and pulls out the detonator, and I love all that.
Luke was going to shoot Jabba. He just fucking reached for that gun with the Force. He was just going to be like, bam, this is over right here. But no, he falls into the Rancor pit. And that's the more of the context we have. Whether you like Book of Boba Fett or not, if you've seen it, you're thinking about that thing as the pet. And Luke didn't mean to kill it, but he had to. So when you see the Rancor keeper bawling over it, you know the context more of what the Rancor is.
And once again, it's a movie full of really cool moments. Rancor, Chewie Leia as the bounty hunter, the Sarlacc pit. Yeah. All this really cool shit. The song by the I can't remember who it is that's singing, but I haven't heard a song that bad since Hopscotch. Like, oh my God, it was pretty awful. But
what, the Size Noodles band?
Yeah, the Size Noodles band. Yeah,
you can almost see why they changed it, but they made it into something worse. At least here it's borderline holiday special, right?
Yeah, and you're a badass when Boba Fett's giving you the nod of respect, and he's just like, yeah, okay. You're not playing.
It's fucking Mandalorian.
But yeah, that whole thing's great. I
like it more now than I ever did. Yeah.
My only biggest problem with it is that there's too many friggin' puppets. This is where we start to go into for me, we go from Star Wars into kind of, he's really kind of trying to pull in that next. He hasn't followed his audience. He's gone and tried to still pull in kids in that next kid generation. So he's leaning heavy on puppets in certain instances. Like you've got of course Jabba. Then you've got what's the little thing next to him? Salacious Crumb.
But it's so iconic,
then
though. I mean,
you've got the Max Rebo band,
they're iconic
and then later
too.
you've got Yoda.
Oh, fucking Yoda.
It's a fucking lot of puppets, but he didn't do that really in the first one. He did a little, mainly
He
like
couldn't.
The band at the cantina was the masks and kind of humanoids and stuff like that, right? So, and I didn't mind Yoda being a puppet, but suddenly it's like Jedi is littered with puppets. Like it's just puppets everywhere.
It was the time of the technology.
I do like that Lucas took like the opportunity in the Jabba scenes to kind of show the diversity. Like that's where you get to see, because that's one of my favorite things about the cantina scene in Star Wars is you walk in and it's now suddenly it's not just humans. There's a diversity of life here.
We're opening it up even more than that.
Yeah, and Jabba's palace was just like that. Yeah,
we're to that like really fast in
thought
this
that was
movie.
Cool.
Yeah,
yeah, and you even get some stop motion with the Rancor.
Right?
You know, I mean. These films kind of set the bar for technical and kind of technique driven filmmaking and broke so much ground for other people. You know, all the computer controlled cameras, all this kind of crazy shit. You know, they were just winning technical award for this stuff.
Yeah, you know, Jabba took it personal. He should have treated it like business. That's where he fucked up, because he was pissed that Han took so long to get back to him or whatever. He didn't even want to unfreeze him. He's like, I'll pay you triple. And it's like, he wouldn't negotiate with Luke. And Luke's like, we're going to kill you, you know? And he's like, no, fuck you. And it's like, okay, well then everybody die. But somehow Bib Fortuna, who I could have sworn was on that ship, lives because he's taking over in Book of Boba Fett. So maybe blink and you'll miss some people getting the fuck out of there before shit really hit the fan. But boy, they took everybody down. And you kind of think, well, didn't any other mob boss notice? Yeah, they did. Bib Fortuna took over the vacancy. But one thing I really noticed in this movie, among other things, was this Jedi and the Sith, they always seem to underestimate the criminal element. The criminals are the ones who are really running the Star Wars universe. They create all the ships for everybody, it seems like, as we learned in Last Jedi. And, you know, it's the Boba Fett's and the Hutts is what makes the universe go round. The people smuggling the Landos and the Han. See, Emperor's underestimating fucking Lando Calrissian is going to blow your shit up. The Sabacc player fucking, you know, spice mine trader guy. He shouldn't be here. But you fucked everything up. And now he is here, and you underestimated that shit, you know.
Yeah. You underestimated his criminal abilities and what all he did as a criminal.
Like a James Bond villain, I have to reveal my plan to you and do it this specific way rather than just killing you right now. We have to take the satisfaction in it. Well, you're taking too long. No, Mr. Bond, I expect you to die.
Luke swinging Leia onto the desert skiff is another echo.
So classic moments
of the first movie. Yeah.
God, that might be more iconic than the first one. The speeder bike scene alone, we had never seen anything like that back then. We saw Tron, but this goes to another level.
Yeah, the speeder bike scene was so. You remember the return? You know, remember how they had an arcade game for each of them, right? Well, and for me, the Return of the Jedi one was one of my favorites because of that speeder bike indoor section. It was kind of a bitch to play, but once you got the hang of it, you could zip right through it. It was really cool, and I really enjoyed it.
Iconic performance in this one. I mean, this is the Obi-Wan you quote, is Return of the Jedi Obi-Wan. Then the Emperor has already won. You are our only hope. I mean, there's a couple other lines he says too. From a certain point of view, that comes from this movie. Mm-hmm. That shit's like branded. You know, looking back on these, I realized just how much comes from Return of the Jedi. Because a lot comes from the first two, but this one, This one's the font.
My favorite, a couple of my favorites are, of course, one of them's a meme, which is, "It's an older code, sir, but it checks out."
See, that's another quotable.
And then, I don't know, "Fly casual" is one of my favorite. It's always been one of my absolute favorite lines. So one thing I want to talk about. Okay, so moving on to a little bit of indoor, right? And I also want to say this. The great thing about these movies, growing up with these movies as a kid, which you and I did, is, of course, they would come out in the summer. You'd go see it during the summer, and then you'd wait for that big toy rush for Christmas because you were just obsessing over the new ships that you'd seen. You know, Empire, you got the B-Wing and all that stuff, and you got and then by Jedi, you're getting an A-Wing, you're getting fucking different TIE fighters now, you're getting, all that stuff. So it was always cool to be able to have all these ships to kind of obsess over and be like, oh, that's the medical transport. Oh, that's cool. Oh, look, another, there's a Y-Wing. Cool, man. Anyway. But so let me get this straight. Indoor. They're all in camo. This hand-picked, specially chosen strike force. Yet they bring a 6-foot golden and shiny as hell droid with them. Where they just... Well, I mean, why not just put like some... It wouldn't have been cool to paint him camo? Wouldn't that have been dope? Put a robe on him? Something?
It does lead into another discussion as well, but nobody ever said they were the best, the most efficient strike team ever. We've seen what this team has done before.
True.
By the time they let us go, the Empire wanted to know the Yavin Moon, and then Empire, they get split up pretty quick. But here they actually get to go on a little adventure together. They all get really good scenes with each other, mixing and matching.
Yeah.
And it does lead up to the fact that the Ewoks think 3PO is a god.
Yes.
And you go, wait a minute, God in Star Wars? Let's examine this. Now, the easy answer is somebody's probably already written about it. There's so many freaking Star Wars books. But I look at it as like, well, since the Jedis don't necessarily have gods, do they look at them as primitives with gods, like as a primitive thing in the Star Wars universe? Or is this just a throwaway line you're not supposed to analyze this much? But it's a podcast.
I don't know. I one of my favorite things about Star Wars is that I've read the books and stuff like that, but I've tried to stay away from like the unprinted lore. And I honestly can't remember, maybe in the Timothy Zahn books, he talks about how the Jedi, maybe treat all sentient life forms the same or not, or if they have that, but I can't remember, honestly.
It's also interesting, and it is interesting. I think that's a proper use of the word, again, that most people consider the Ewok stuff to be the weakest part of the movie. And I think it's because of the rewrites. Because this was supposed to be Kashyyyk originally, right? It was supposed to be a planet of Wookiees.
Right.
But he didn't get to do that until like episode 3.
Yeah.
And so he went for the half size instead, because
would have been super cool for Wookiees though, man.
And so it's like, but I still think what's essential of what they were trying to convey in that story-wise beats are in that part, and I think they caught that early enough before they went into production. It feels like in any ways that it just feels organic, like it's always been that way. But I think that might be why some of that stuff registers as kind of odd. But it's really like less than a half hour of the movie is Ewok time, and a lot of it's a lot of cool shit, like the 2 logs smashing the fucking chicken walker. I mean, that's iconic.
I have a note. My favorite part of the Ewok battle is the logs on the chicken water and the dead Ewok checking on his friend.
Oh, of course, they make you care about it.
Yeah,
you can't say you didn't care about that. That's like lying about E.T.
Exactly.
And our whole generation knows that. You saw this in the theater. They made you care about those fucking Ewoks. You can't say you didn't care about them. They had enough of a budget to where they had facial expressions and emotions. When you watch the Ewok movies for It's made for TV. They ain't got no emotion. They got fucking dead eyes, man. But in this movie, they still had enough of a budget to where they all had personalities and stuff, at least, you know.
Well, and they had, I think they had better actors who could kind of pull that off. There were some pretty good actors for this.
There's an Ewok smoking at one point. He's smoking a pipe, listening to the C-3PO.
Yeah. The speeder bike thing, that's basically just, that's the beginning of, this is pod racing, you know, immediately that's what I think of when I see the speeder bike stuff now.
Mm-hmm. And it makes sense why they both have that skill. You know, they're Anakin's kid.
Yeah, that green.
And Anakin's woke up again in a way. He's not just Darth Vader anymore at that point. So it's time for
that green saber is I love it. I love that green saber.
That's one of the best scenes in the whole movie, is when Luke, who I think just wanted to ride in an AT-AT, it's dropped off to meet with Darth Vader. I'm like, he just wanted to ride in the fucking AT-AT. But then they have that whole scene, and it's the most powerful scene in the movie, I think, is after Luke gets in the elevator and the Darth Vader has his moment of doubt by himself. And it's like, oh shit, things are changing. You can almost see Hayden Christensen under the mask, you know.
Yeah.
And it's it's too late for me. And it's like, yeah, you killed all those younglings and shit. You don't even know what this fucker did. But still.
Let me ask you this. So I just had this flash of a thought. So do you like or dislike the idea of having Hayden Christensen put in as the Force Ghost for Anakin?
Well, when I going through these again, and it's one of my notes, is now I realize the special edition versions, they're made to match episodes 1, 2, and 3.
Right.
That's why they have that. But I still think there's nothing wrong with the 80s versions existing as their own trilogy as well, where I get my Darth Vader who has eyebrows, you know.
Yeah, totally.
So I've come to terms with it once again, where I go, it's supposed to match those. It's supposed to match the prequels. That's why we're like, oh, what is going on here? Why are there Gungans at the end of Jedi? Well, that's because it's matching. It's the 1, 2, and 3 version. He even made the color palettes of those movies change to those. So going through these original versions again made me realize, oh, they have their time and place. And if I was doing a run of 1, 2, and 3, I might actually watch the specials of 4, 5, and 6 after to see if it feels more akin to it. But we still need these versions, because these were the ones that we all saw.
I kind of like the Hayden Christensen update. Like,
it makes sense. You know?
It does make sense, but I can also see it like, okay, so at the end of, is it at the end of Empire where they're all, or is it Jedi where they're all, it's at the end of Jedi where they're all the Force Ghosts are standing there nodding at Luke. And, and I like that being him. But I think, isn't there another point where no. Yeah, but I also, I agree with you. I don't mind Anakin. I got a little confused there. I was thinking about something else, but I was thinking there was another film where there's another Force Ghost that
it's just Anakin, it's just Obi-Wan and Yoda, and then it's Anakin as the ghost. Yeah. And then if you go to Episode 9, all other ball of wax with the Force Ghost.
Yeah. At one point, one of the Ewoks says, "Ichiwawa."
It says what?
You heard me.
Ichiwawa. No, it actually dropped out during that when you said that. No, I really didn't.
At one point, one of the Ewoks says, "Ichiwawa!" So Leia runs off into the forest with her new friend that is basically a living teddy bear.
I understand why. I know what I was going to say real quick. I understand why his eyebrows are gone. Darth Vader's eyebrows are gone in the special edition because he burned up. He wouldn't be able to grow eyebrows back.
Well, I guess.
But anyways, Leia runs off with my
so
Darth Vader has eyebrows.
With a living teddy bear. Do you know about the How I Met Your Mother theory about Ewoks? Barney Stinson's Ewok theory in Return of the Jedi.
Let's elaborate on this.
So basically, he says that kids born after May 25th, 1973, like Ewoks because they were young enough to enjoy them. and people born before that date think Ewoks are fucking stupid. And so I think I'm kind of straddling that line. I'm born that year after that. But I still think Ewoks are probably like the second or third worst thing Lucas did in the entire series of movies, because other than Jar Jar Binks, which is probably his biggest fumble. That's his biggest fumble. Yeah.
Yeah, because at least the
these
Ewoks connect to all the iconic moments that we remember.
Yeah, they just annoy me, Marty.
I mean,
they just annoy me.
I'm okay with them because they serve their purpose. I don't even see it as almost too kiddie, because even that's like violent. They're murder bears. They were gonna put Han Solo on a spit and eat him. They're playing bongos on the stormtroopers' helmets at the end. They're very savage, savage race. And you also think they were supposed to be Wookiees, right? And so what a totally different slant that would have been, because then you don't have that kiddie. So if I look at it and think, okay, what if I just look at this as they're just this other species they run into that just happen to be bears? Well, the Emperor wasn't expecting fucking bears. Well, because nobody expects fucking bears. And so I was finally okay with it this time.
Do you think that he should have, I think there are films or film series that have, like Harry Potter.
Because we watched episodes 7, 8, and 9, and now I realize how good I had it with Return of the Jedi. Okay, that's really what it comes down to. But as you were saying,
so these movies in the end are basically, especially I think 4, 5, and 6. I don't feel like 1, 2, and 3 or 7, 8, and 9 are really. I don't think 7, 8, 9 are super geared towards kids. I think they're geared towards an adult audience that wants to see a series of sequels.
Yeah, it'll be interesting if we analyze those one day. Yeah.
But I do feel like Star Wars, Empire, Return are geared right at that 8 to 12-year-old and higher audience, right? But they're really playing to kids to a certain point. But there are a series of movies like Harry Potter where, as the kids have grown up, the movies have gotten more sophisticated, right? Like every year he goes to school and he's a little bit older, and so the movies get a little bit more less childlike and a little more serious, right? Until you finally are with Deathly Hallows and he's having to kill somebody and all this shit. Do you think that Lucas should have grown his movies up? Like, I imagine that would have been an amazingly different 3 movies if he had gone like, okay, these kids, these kids that were 10 that saw it, now they're 12, now they're 14, you know what I mean? Or whatever, 13 and 16. I think it took him 3 years to do each movie or something like that.
Well,
I'm just curious what your thought is. Or maybe I'm just reaching.
Outside of that's interesting though. Once again, I'm using that word correctly, I think. My limit for using that word is probably meant for the episode now. Can't say interesting again. I have to come up with a different adjective. But no, you bring up a good point. But I think watching this movie again, being in my 50s now, and outside of the Muppet element, I feel like the movies do get more sophisticated as they go. Especially this one. I mean, we get Yoda dying. We get all of everything's coming to a head. All of the intense scenes with Luke and Darth Vader, and Luke and Leia have the good scene about, we're related, and all this stuff starts to unfold. There's a lot more drama and things happening in this one than I would always kind of take it for granted. Like, oh, it's just the Ewok one. It's the kiddie one. It's like, I think I was dismissing this too much. I think there's a lot heavier themes,
I think you're right.
Especially when those prequels and stuff, and it's like, oh shit! And Anakin's coming back.
So maybe he did grow him up.
Yeah, I didn't really think of it, but from that certain point of view, as he likes to say, it made me look at this one in a totally different light now. Yeah,
I love that discussion with, like you said, the Vader and at the end with the, then my father is truly dead. It took 3 movies to get to that exposition, right? To get to the father and the son meeting, and instead of immediately fighting now, this time they're having a calm conversation. You know what I mean? He's not accusing him of anything, and and Vader's not trying to lure him to the dark side with it's just like, well, this is going to happen. What do you want to do? And he's like, are you
Mm-hmm.
sure you fucking want to do this? Like, you and I can just fucking kill this guy, get the fuck out of here, and it'll be fine. Nope. This is the dark side. You got to fucking do what the dark side says.
Right? You can almost, like I say,
It's a trap.
It's a trap. And moments, it was, but they were both traps. You can almost feel the Hayden Christensen under the mask, thinking, "The fuck is he's fucking the Emperor's telling him what's up, and he's like basically saying fuck you." He's like, "Dude, you don't want."
You don't want to do that.
Here we go.
Yeah.
And the Emperor's
Trust me,
just
I
loving
went
it,
through that.
because he's like, "Oh, I've been waiting for this shit because I know who's under that mask and how cocky you were, and just everything just coming to this massive head." So as much as I don't like those Disney movies, they added something weird to it, because I have the Solo movie in my head that's playing on out in the other battle with Lando. And then there's Han, who was a former Imperial, knowing their tricks so he could fucking fool them into coming around to the back, to break in. Emperor wasn't expecting that either. It just added these layers to it,
I love how Luke gets mad. His dad mentions his sister.
Yeah.
That's Luke's girl to kiss, not Dad's. Space operas are weird like that, right?
Well, they put that Oedipus thing in there a lot. But hey,
cutting
Ford used the roadie for the doors, so
yeah. Cutting off Vader's hand seems like equal justice, but later we learn that ain't Vader's first time for that,
right?
This is one thing I'll say in today's filmmaking. Luke escaping the Death Star with his father, in my opinion, would be a much longer sequence.
Yeah.
Pacing be damned. They would, he's going to drag him, and then he's going to get him into the seat and check on him, and then he's going to have problem. Instead it's Luke's dragging him, boom, they're taking on, and they're gone. And then it's just, he's got to get it. Yeah. You got to get out. Right.
Darth Vader funeral pyre. Iconic.
Yes.
It's amazing. I mean, my favorite part of the whole movie, I think, is those guys running past Darth Vader at the end when he's all fucked up and Luke is carrying him, and they're running and they look over, and I'm imagining them thinking, "Fuck, Darth Vader is fucked up. We are in trouble. I got to get the fuck out of here." Because he's all stumbling and shit, and people are just running. They're like, "Oh my god, that motherfucker's in trouble. They fucked him up. Oh no, let's get out of here.
They're gonna kill all of us."
Yeah, yeah. That always cracks me up. That part. It's not supposed to be funny, but in that kind of troops aspect of Star Wars with the comedy stormtroopers, you could almost imagine, that type of storyline going on with them.
So, imagine that you're a highly trained and equipped Imperial trooper, and then you land on this jungle planet, and then suddenly there's an Ewok rampage, and you get your ass kicked by some fucking fuzzy 3-foot jungle bears. Like, that's the most beautiful metaphor for Vietnam I think I've ever heard in my entire life. It's, I mean, not calling them Vietnamese 3-foot jungle bears, but just saying, that coming in on somebody else's jungle and trying to whoop some ass and getting your ass kicked type of thing. Yeah, it's a good film. I enjoy it quite a bit. I hadn't seen it.
Yeah,
I don't know, probably in a decade.
I don't so much. It was on cable all the time for a while.
Yeah, I don't revisit the trilogies. I watched them a lot in the 2000s because as these other ones were coming out, I would be like, "Whoop, I'm going to watch them in series and see how they are. Whoop, I'm going to watch them in series and see how they are." And the best one that I've
go ahead.
The best one in series that I've seen that butts up beautifully is Rogue One. It butts up perfectly to Star Wars, and the rest of them just kind of meh. They're their own little segments. Anyway,
yeah, it was good to get some distance from it to go back. And also the original version of this just has some mild tweaks, like the song in Jabba's palace. Talk about making it even more kiddie-like. I remember on opening day, people kind of groaning during that part.
Yeah, it was just like, oh,
that's unnecessary. Why? We can just have our goofy size snoodles song and my yub yub Ewok song at the end. Thank you very much. As ridiculous as that is as well, it's hard to imagine this movie without that, even though it's easy to watch this movie without it. I always hear the Yub Yub song.
I often wonder what a Return of the Jedi movie without Ewoks would have been like.
Well,
Like,
maybe it'd be a little more Revenge of the Sith like. Who knows?
Yeah, maybe.
Because we get the Kashyyyk planet there. We finally get our world of Wookiees. When we talk about episode 3, that'll be a fun time to compare and contrast. But looking back at it this time and having gone through the other two as well, and my previous controversial stance about how A New Hope was the best one, when for years I was always saying Empire was the best one. This is the best Star Wars movie, period. This is where it all comes. When you think about Star Wars, all those iconic things and the lines from It's a Trap fucking down on. I could have written almost every other line from this movie as a meme, and it moves so well. That Jabba scene is so tight. And then we just move right into the next sequence with the Yoda death. And then I love Empire, but like I was saying last time, you get the AT-AT thing. It's like, it's nice, but it's not as fucking tight as that fucking Jabba sequence. And like the first movie, they diddle-dally until they meet each other, and then they fucking have their small adventure. But here we get to see the whole gang together. They have such great fucking scenes with everybody. Luke has good scenes with Han. Hans has good scenes with Leia. Leia has good scenes with Luke. Fucking Darth Vader and Luke, and the fucking Emperor's coming back, and fucking Han thinks his ship's gonna get blown up, and it's all coming to a fucking head right here. And I used to underestimate it. I was like, oh, that's the worst one. Remember when we used to think that was the worst one, was the joke about the newer movies, But also, having seen the newer movies makes me appreciate this one a lot more too.
I would nowhere near put this as the worst one at all. I think out of the trilogy, it's the one I rank the lowest.
That's what I used to, but now it's my favorite of all the Star Wars movies. Period.
I'll still stand Empire for all time.
Yeah, because that has a few great moments, but this one's nothing but.
Well, I mean, moments. It's not my, Empire's got It's Not My Fault. It's the beginning of Boba Fett.
It does too.
All that stuff, and then even Star Wars has got use the Force, Luke, and all that type of shit.
But my God, did they really knock it out of the park with this movie?
Yeah, oh, absolutely. I again think
fucking speeder bikes. My God, that's such a tight.
Speeder bikes are fucking great.
Scene, when all the fucking fighters come at them when they come out before they realize it's a trap, and it's like it's one of the most
space battles are awesome.
Space battle sequence. It totally outdoes the first movie, where I was saying you're almost falling asleep by the time you get to that part, but they had figured out the pacing of what Star Wars was. The
only other thing that comes close maybe is Attack of the Clones. Maybe that opening sequence with Attack of the Clones. But that's all. I will say the Jedi stuff is, at least more of it's not digital. It's a physical practical effect. So that's cool.
Yeah. I could have written down the lines, but I would have written like every third line. And you'd be like, yep, that one lives in my head rent free too. Yep, that's a meme. Yep, that's yeah. Couldn't believe how much I enjoyed it. I was trepidatious putting it on, even though I'm the one who picked it, because it's like, okay, here we go again with this interminable Jabba shit and then the Ewok shit. But I was just eating it up. Just like, shoot that fucking lightsaber at me, fucking R2, and I'll grab it and do a backflip and start fucking chopping motherfuckers up. And thinking, oh yeah, Boba Fett's gonna come out of that fucking Sarlacc pit and go live with Sand people.
Boba Fett.
Mm-hmm. Oh yeah. Yoda dying. My God. That's some intense shit when you're like fucking 10 years old, And then here comes Obi-Wan again, is laying it all out, and it's like, yeah, it's so good. But I like them all, I'll give this one 5 as well. But I have no reason not to give any of the 3 of these a 5. There's just too much going on here.
I thought about it because I gave Star Wars a 5. I gave Empire a 5. And I think it's the least of the three, but I think it's still probably the least of the three 5 stars.
Mm-hmm.
Maybe I could go 4.7, but I can't go 4.5. So, and 4.7 rounds up to 5. So
it
I'm
changed
gonna have to
things
go
too
5
much,
stars.
man.
So
It changed things too much. Just for Lando blowing up the fucking core and saying yeehaw and fucking slingshotting out of the fucking Death Star alone with that blast behind him. Yeah,
and that's some great
it
moments
is.
for sure.
Yeah.
It's a again, what is it? 2 hours, I think, 2:11, something
Mm-hmm.
like that. So it's pretty long, but
Mm-hmm. It knows its
I just
pacing. Yeah.
a little bit less Ewok for me, please,
Well,
George.
there's not
Not so
much
much Ewok.
actually. And then when you go into some of the other
Too much for
movies
me.
and you go, fuck, there's a lot of Jar Jar in this shit.
Too much fucking Jar Jar. Whew.
And a pod race that goes on forever, but that's for another day. But now we have another film from 1983 that also has some pretty good pacing as well. Might be a little on the long side, but movies tended to be back then. But what is
Yeah.
Local Hero from 1983? To do a very
Local
short setup
Hero.
because we'd almost be wrapping up by now, but that was Return of the Jedi, so.
Well, no reason, we'll talk as long as we want to talk. God dang it. Anyway, Local Hero, 1983, rated PG, 1 hour and 51 minutes. An American oil company has plans for a new refinery and sends someone to Scotland to buy up an entire village, but things don't go as expected. This is written and directed by Bill Forsyth, starring Burt Lancaster, Peter Riegert, and Fulton McKay, or Mackay, I think. Let me get his storyline for you.
McIntyre.
Oil billionaire Happer sends Mac to a remote Scottish village to secure the property rights for an oil refinery they want to build. Mac teams up with Danny and starts the negotiations. The locals are keen to get their hands on the silver dollar and can't believe their luck. However, a local hermit and beach scavenger, Ben Knox, lives in a shack on the crucial beach, which he also owns. Happer is more interested in the northern lights, and Danny in a surreal girl with webbed feet, Marina. Mac is used to a Houston offices with fax machines, but is forced to negotiate on Ben's terms. Sorry, I could have read that better.
They could have written that better.
Yeah.
I'm glad you've watched the movie already, viewer, because some of that shit does not happen for so long into the movie, and the description makes it sound like it's all in the first 10 minutes.
Yeah. So speaking of minutes, I'm 1 minute into the film, and I had to pause because there's a credit that I've never seen before, and it was called a lighting cameraman. I have never seen a lighting cameraman credit in my entire life, and I had to look it up. And so the guy's name who's the lighting cameraman is Chris Menges, and so later on the Menges for you, I love you, man, fans out there. Or later's on the Menges, is what he says. So AI says it's sometimes used for a camera operator on a second unit who handles the lighting and the camera for their specific shots. He reports to the DP and is sometimes credited for dailies footage. So I found that very interesting.
Yeah. I wonder if that's a term that doesn't get used as much since this movie's
That's the first fucking time I'd ever seen it. And I don't know if it was, I didn't necessarily see a DOP credit here, so maybe that's British, where I guess if you just handle the cinematography and the lighting, then you're the camera lighting
terms,
lighting
at different
camera.
times. Yeah.
Wild. Anyway,
well, we watched Waking Ned Devine. I wrote Levine on my notes. Jeez.
Waking Nick Levine. Yeah.
And that was very early in the season. Now we're towards the end of the season. We're watching this one, and it feels like a nice bookend in a way.
It does.
Even though this one came out,
I was thinking the same thing.
Almost 15 years before that one. But I feel like the Ned movie was inspired in ways by the tone of this, the feel, not necessarily a story per se, but
it's got that slow kind of wry small town feel to it. A lot of weird characters, kind of their own sort of logic that's both funny and sort of correct at the same time, and
there was a
lot
line
of sass to strangers.
There was a line that kind of, for me, summed up that whole thing. And we've watched a couple of movies like that. Trainspotting was another one that fell in, the Full Monty. And the line was something like, in this movie, it was, and I'm not saying it right, but you'll remember what I'm talking about. Did he sign the thing? He just wants more sprouts. And it's like, that's that type of humor. Yeah, that's in a fucking nutshell, that type of, and that's the whole tone, everything right there.
Yeah. Well, there's another one where they're talking about the money. He goes, "You want to buy a house?" He goes, "I'm trying to sell one, Charlie." You know, because the premise of the movie is basically this oil company's coming in and the town is thrilled that this they're going to give them $20 million. Everybody's going to get a cut. They're going to get profits for 10 years. They're going to be a percentage of profits because the company's going to build this massive oil holding and shipping area. And of course, there's one dude who owns 4 miles of beach and lives on the beach and he doesn't want to sell.
Which we don't find out about until about 90 minutes into the movie.
Exactly. Yeah. Because we think the deal's all done and everybody's partying and they're all excited and happy.
You know, it's like something's going to ruin this deal. I feel like I may have seen parts of this years ago. It seems sort of familiar, and not just because of the year it was made.
No, I know what you mean.
Because I'm sitting there going, oh yeah, this isn't going to turn out right. And then, I was the fish out of water, but it turns out that I actually like it here more and I'm going to stay here. But it wasn't as bad as some of those other movies where it's like the whole story hinges on, did the person, you fucked up. We were going to do the thing and make all the money. And now it just kind of, it didn't happen. And, but hey, life goes on. You're my friend, blah, blah. And that was the different approach this one seemed to have for that type of movie, which makes this one a little more charming than some of those other paint by number versions.
I think because the deal was still going to go through, right? Because what he said was,
well, there was work and money, but it wasn't going to be the same thing. Yeah.
What Happer said was like, we're still going to buy it all. Just tell him to move the oil place somewhere else because I'm going to make an institute here. Because that dude were looking at the stars and all that shit, right? So that's why everybody was happy, right? Like everybody's good to go. One of my favorite parts early in the movie is when Happer's talking to Mac and he hits that button and suddenly the roof opens up and the dude's got a fucking planetarium in his office. I'm like, oh, dude, that's fucking cool. For 83, that's really dope. What a cool idea. I really liked that. Music by Mark Knopfler was a surprise. I didn't know that he'd ever scored any movies. Then. Yeah.
You got Sophie from Nate and Hayes.
I was about to say the same thing. The swimming girl is Sophie from Nate and Hayes. I'm like, here she is showing up again. That's so awesome. It's crazy. What are you thinking about, Marty? Naked girls in a fish tank.
And it's an early 80s movie that so many of these mid 90s movies start to emulate, but they do it in that 90s way. And I feel like I like this one a little more than some of those. I like those as well, but this one's a little more refreshing in a way.
No, I know what you mean. It's definitely kind of like you said, it's a character piece. It's very Doc Hollywood to a certain extent. Guy has to, stay in a small town, makes friends, kind of falls in love with the town and the people in it, that type of thing. The town, of course, is charming but weird, all that type of shit. I liked it. I quite liked it. I like the fact that the character is like early on. The Mac is kind of a douche. He's calling those girls and fighting with them, and trying to get one of them. It's like his flirting is just way terrible. He's just not a real good dude.
It's like one of our movies. He's kind of like a Billy in a way.
Like a Billy, exactly.
He learns that he'd rather be here.
Mm-hmm. But that's exactly it.
One of the things I liked about it, you reminded me just now, is some of those other movies, they really kind of have this slant of city life sucks. But this one doesn't. This one's just like, he just, it's not working for him the way it was anymore. It's not like some of these other movies where it's like, I can't believe I ever wanted to live in the city, and it's fucking horrible, and I have to live out here. And it's like, hey, now, come on, we can both live in equal measure here. You know, it doesn't have to be shit on big city life. You know, that has its footing as well. But this movie doesn't do that, and that's another reason I liked it. It was more realistic in that respect. He's just done. You know, he's automatically on the phone to them at the end of the movie, right? Like he wants to go back.
Yeah.
So it's understated, and there's not a lot of plot, but it's just kind of not supposed to be, you know.
Yeah.
It's art house.
You can tell he's not happy to leave, but at the same time, he knows, I think he always knew he was going to. Of course, he gets drunk and says, hey, you could be me, just go back and take my job, and I'll stay here with, be with your wife and all that. But so here's something.
He saw another version of himself out there, that other guy. Yeah.
Yeah, exactly. So about 22 minutes into the movie, 22 and a half, he and Daniel, Mac and Daniel, they're entering the hotel. This is where, they're like, hey, can we come in? We got to, the hotel doesn't open till 8. Well, can we come in anyways? We got a sick rabbit, and so he lets them in to the hotel, or tells them, hey, the door's never locked, and they go in. So there's this scene where they're entering. It's so weird. I don't know if they were trying to be funny, or if maybe I'm just missing the point, but so they enter into the hotel and into the dining room, and the owner walks. There's a table in the middle of the room, right? A dining table, the table later where we'll see them eat several times, right? And so the owner walks downstage around the table, and Daniel starts to go upstage around the table, and Mac is following him, and then Daniel, for some reason, just stops and decides to go. He wants to go around the table and go downstage, which means he runs directly into Mac, who shoves him aside as he continues going upstage around. It's the weirdest fucking, like, what in the fuck type of, like, what does it matter to Daniel which side of the table he's going on? I guess it was strange. It was a very weird, like, what? And it was kind of the weirdest choice in the movie. Every other thing about this movie was really pretty enjoyable. It's a languid pace. Like, it takes its time. You get to know everybody. You get to know Mac. You get to know Daniel. You get to know Maria. You get to know everybody in the town, pretty much. At least the accountant,
the main people,
wife, the main people, the Russian dude that just suddenly shows up and sings the worst karaoke of all time, and the whole, we have to listen to the whole song. That was fun.
Shades of Give Me Liberty.
That's a good call. License to Deal in Game is an interesting title for a plaque. You should have known, bringing a sick bunny into there, they were probably going to feed it to you if they couldn't fix it. That's exactly what they did. Poor Trudy. Poor Trudy. So I noticed this, and I want to have this discussion with you. Mac is the type of guy that when you set a plate of food in front of him, he salts it before he even takes a bite. He puts salt on it.
Oh, I did notice that. Yeah.
Yeah. Now, are you the type of person who salts your food? Like, if somebody puts, like, if you're at a restaurant and somebody puts a plate of food in front of you, do you just immediately grab the salt and start to salt it? Or do you take a bite first and see if it needs salt?
I rarely put salt on things anyway, so.
Yeah, same. But I always taste it first. Like, why would you,
Because that's a character trait they put in on purpose, I think. Yeah.
Yeah. Well, and just in general, people, taste your food before you salt it. That's a good thing to do. Don't just assume that it's not going to be salty.
He just jumped right in and assumed that this deal was going to be one way, and it turned out it didn't need the salt. See? An allegory for the movie.
It's a weird ass movie. At one point he's just standing there. He's standing around a bunch of dudes, and they're down at the dock, and he's asking what they're doing. Oh, we're fixing the nets so we can catch lobster. Oh, whose baby is it? And they all just look at him. Like, there's no explanation for it. They all just look at him, and then the scene cuts back to something else. It's like, what in this movie is fucking weird. It's funny, and it's kind of weird.
None of us are quite sure whose baby it is.
It's whack. It's like a Dances with Wolves, Doc Hollywood comedy type of, Gone Native, like you said, fish out of water.
Mm-hmm.
Give me 4 8-year-olds and a 10-year-old has to be the craziest line I've heard. The craziest line of dialogue I've heard in a long fucking time, dude.
Weird part of dialogue.
Where he's like, give me some 26-year-old scotch. He's like, I don't have any more. He's like, well, then give me 2 8-year-olds and a 10-year-old. And I'm just like, what the fuck, bro? Oh, that's hilarious. Snuck that right in. I love the therapist who keeps working with Happer and eventually is just calling him and berating him and calling him his stupid ass and leaving him notes. And, at one point it's like, I'm going to, I think it's time we just start punching you. And he's like, get out of here. What are you talking about? He's like, you punch me and I'll punch you.
Mm-hmm.
It was hilarious. Overall, though, a strange movie, a fun one. I would probably watch it again, but I don't know I'd watch it very much. But I appreciated what it did.
Right. I'd always heard so much about it. That it was, this important, forgotten cult classic.
Mm-hmm.
And if you hadn't brought it to the show, it was going to be one of my blind picks at some point.
Okay.
But I'm glad I watched it because I see where a lot of other things get their inspiration from. And I can't really think of a movie that feels like that before that one.
Yeah.
Because then we're just back in the world of like hopscotch and stuff. And they made movies a little different then. But 1983, it was the year where anything could happen.
I really like Happer's character. He's this oil tycoon who, has a head for, he's asleep in business meetings. And yet what he's really interested in is like, because when he sends Mac out there, he's like, now here's Virgo. Pay attention to Virgo and look for a comet while you're out there. And you call me the minute you see it. Right. And that's a lot of what the movie hinges on is this dude's kind of like, I don't know. He's like the wizard from the Wizard of Oz or something, he's one of these type of characters, which gives the film almost like a whimsical sort of, almost a fairy tale type of feel to it to a certain extent, which I think is pulled off really nicely by the beautiful landscape and the beaches and this island's gorgeous wherever they're shooting. It's really pretty. The town's really pretty too.
Yeah. It's not like a Deus Ex Machina because we already know that he exists and he can come in and change everything, but it's also not a bleak 70s ending where it's like he comes in, he turns it off and nobody has any money. No, there's a different plan in place because it's the 80s.
Yeah, and things are looking up again in the 80s. Mm-hmm. Yeah. Economy's looking up. Reagan's in charge. We're all going to win.
We're oil people.
Mm-hmm. And then pretty soon we'll get into our USA chants and we'll have Rocky IV and we'll have Red Dawn and we'll have all the rah-rah Iron Eagle, rah-rah USA movies because there's a fuck ton of those things.
Gung Ho.
We'll have to maybe, yeah, exactly. Like Gung Ho. Maybe we'll have to bring Gung Ho on at some point.
But no, it's a good movie. It's understated.
Yeah, I like it. I really do. I think. I also think it's just smart. It's a smart picture. It's doing what it does really well. It's not trying to tell too complicated of a story, but what it's doing is, I love the fact that the town's just like, oh, this is great. The dude's just like, give me 3 or 4 days, guys. I'll squeeze this guy for all the money we can get out of him. I love it.
It turns out they didn't have to do anything like that.
Nope.
But like the Ned movie reminded me in ways like they twisted it. Like we have to go around and convince each person to sell in that movie as opposed to everybody wanting to sell. But the objective was kind of the same.
It definitely, here's what I like. They go and they negotiate with the guy and they're offering him all this money and he won't take it. And, rather than turning into some sort of fucking courtroom drama or some sort of big melodramatic thing, right, where they force him off the land and, whatever. And there's some sort of
Oh, that's the
weird.
Francis Before thing you were saying. Okay, I get it.
Yeah, but there's also maybe some sort of weird kind of statement about the evils of corporations. Instead, here comes this dude who owns the place, and he just basically goes, "Oh yeah, we're not doing any of that here. I mean, I'm still going to buy it because I want to turn it into this nice Oceanic Institute and fucking astronomy club, and then we'll move the oil over somewhere else." And it just kind of resolves that way, right? Like there's no I like that there's no this crazy ride of tension to this unmerciless end and then fall off, what I mean? It's just kind of like, well, what are we going to do? And then holy shit, here comes the boss,
Right?
And the boss comes in and fixes it, because literally that's when you're at work and you get into a situation that you can't handle, that's usually what happens. Your boss comes in and fixes it.
I think it's also because of the time period it was made. Like all the movies that were inspired by it have a little bit more cynicism in them, or a harsher edge, or things sort of like that happen, or in some fashion or another, where it's a big blow up. But this one doesn't have the big blow up. Mm-hmm. It's just things don't work out the way they thought they were going to. But isn't that the whole point of the movie?
Right.
So I just finished watching it right before the recording, as I mentioned earlier. So it would have done better to have sat with me for a few days, like any movie.
Yeah.
But this one was, if you had to watch a movie and then get on and record about it immediately, this was a good candidate for it, because I can already tell that it's a really good movie. I got a lot out of it, and I can tell I'm probably going to appreciate it the more I think about it. But also, I don't know how often I'm going to throw it on. But if it was on, I would watch it.
That's exactly how I feel. Yeah, that's exactly how I feel.
I think I liked it more than all those other before-mentioned movies. Even though I liked those, it was like, oh, this is just it's a little more easygoing.
So £3 million in '83 grosses $6 million worldwide. And then probably went to VHS and then home video, and probably made another 5 or 6
and cable, like, and somehow neither one of us ever saw it until now, which is pretty crazy, because we watched everything back then.
I feel like this would have fallen right into kind of like it would have fallen into something I would have watched, because it would have been like After Hours Diner. It would have, and what I mean is that kind of indie kind of character piece that I was totally into when I was a kid. I'd watch all those. So I'm shocked this one slipped through. Very, very surprised. Well, what do you give it?
3.5.
3.5. You know what? I think I'm gonna go right there with you. I'm gonna go 3.5 also. Jeez, we're not arguing about much lately, are we? Maybe that's a good thing.
Yeah, I mean, it's not gonna happen every week.
Oh man. But yeah, I'm not sure I want to do a lot of trilogies all in a row, but that wasn't too bad because it was Star Wars.
Yeah, and episode 99, I before the first 100, Star Wars, it's part of why Pondo exists in many ways.
Absolutely.
That filmmaking inspiration. There's tons of other movies too, of course, but I just wanted to get those out of the way.
I hear you.
We also and I do trilogy too.
I do think, true, and I do think that Local Hero was a good kind of. It was a nice offset to Return of the Jedi. It was really a nice. It was like, okay, Return is this great kids movie I love, and Local Hero was like something I kind of sank into for an hour and 50 minutes, where I was just like, this is good. I'm quite enjoying this.
You could have seen them on the same day, maybe.
Absolutely.
In '83.
That would be cool.
Yeah. Watch, I find some newspaper ad that shows them both.
Well, maybe, who knows? I mean, I think that release date was that release date was Britain for April, so maybe it came over in May. Who knows? United States was you're right. United States was actually February 17th.
Oh, that makes even more sense, because that means the movie was probably shot in '82, which gives it even more of the '70s leaning.
Da, comrade. Yeah. Well, what do you got for me next week?
Right, because then it was like, the Russians are coming. The Russians are coming. But here we still have, the nice Russian.
The nice Russian, yeah.
Next
the
week.
one that we like, that Russian.
Mm-hmm.
He does remind me a lot of the Russian from Give Me Liberty.
I think they were inspired. Mm-hmm.
Yeah, it wouldn't surprise me. Yeah, you know who I can't remember his name, but we know we're talking about the guy who opens the herring and makes out with the sister and all that stuff.
Right.
Mm-hmm.
So next week for episode 99.5, you're watching Moscow on the Hudson. No, we're not doing that. But that would fit thematically.
Moscow on the Hudson.
No, next week is episode 100 with Jessica Stone, where we're talking about a couple of Christmas movies for you. Yeah, we already did Talking Figgy a few weeks ago. At least we were supposed to. If it never came out, then now you know our recording order. Whatever, fuck it. Merry Christmas next week. And
that's right.
It's the Dennis Leary type of Merry Christmas. I'll leave you with that. The Merry fucking Christmas, as he likes to say. But the week after that, it'll be our New Year's episode where we watch a couple movies that are loosely related to New Year's Eve, because it's hard to find actual New Year's Eve movies. And then we're done with this thematic shit for a while.
Yeah, and we're gonna do the, unfortunately, I think even worse than, again, I have a thing where I kind of think that movies that are Christmas movies kind of have to be about Christmas in some way. Just because you have a Christmas scene in the movie doesn't mean that it's not a Christmas movie. Mm-hmm. But we're going to use that loose definition for the New Year's because it's even worse for New Year's. There aren't a lot of movies about New Year's Eve at all.
We watched Poseidon and Go last year, so
yeah, and they happen on New Year's, so I guess it's close enough. So what do you got for me?
Well, we had boardrooms this week, right? And then we had a scene a few weeks ago where a guy smashed into a window into a boardroom momentarily.
Yeah, I know what you're giving me. Yeah.
You already know?
Yeah. You want me to guess?
Yeah, guess.
You're giving me the Hudsucker proxy.
I'm giving you the Hudsucker proxy.
Boom!
Good guess there. That's Coen Brothers and Sam Raimi movie going into the back door of their efforts again. And I realized, it's New Year's. So
and there is a New Year's, big New Year's, big part of New Year's happens on that. Okay. I'm going to give you a movie that I saw, I want to say 3 or 4 months ago, maybe. It's a classic. It's considered probably one of the best noir movies ever made, and it has also a New Year's scene in it, and it's Sunset Boulevard.
Oh, okay. Well, maybe I'll like it more the second time. Right? I know it's a classic, and I'm always willing to watch things objectively, because you never know. Because just like today, now I say Return of the Jedi is my favorite Star Wars movie. And earlier in the day, I couldn't remember shit, and you did. Maybe something did happen back in 2020 where everything flipped upside down. Or maybe you just get a little older, and this is how things play out, right? From a certain point of view.
Here's what's happened, and I truly believe this at this point. That CERN super collider is opening up. It's opening up probability factors that we're skipping into. Because
we in rewrites.
Yeah, because ever since they've been firing that damn thing off, the weirdest shit's been happening. COVID, bird flu, fucking, God knows, man. It's everywhere. It's everything. Ukrainian war, pops off all of a sudden. I'm telling you, I think it's a CERN super collider.
Big Bang Theory. It's like that TV show, because some people watch Star Wars.
Well, I give you. I didn't know you'd already seen it, but I hope maybe
okay. It's a good one.
Another viewing of it.
It's important,
and it's a good one to bring, and it's a New Year's one, so we'll get it out of the way.
Yeah.
All right then. Well, I guess until next time. Hang on here. Let me see what I got. See my quote here. Yep, you got yours.
Mm-hmm.
Go for it.
That face you make.
I have a confession to make. I'm not Scottish. Later, man.
Thanks.
Don't miss an episode. Make sure you subscribe to the podcast, like us on YouTube, or give us a 5-star rating on the podcast app of your choice.